Ah, cool. Sounds good, Sonny. Anyways, guys, it is Single Shot Sunday. We'll break it down quick here. We've got hit the like button while you're at it. Subscribe if you hate me. Like and subscribe. Then whenever my stuff comes out, you can talk shit on it. Just saying, folks. Anyways, let's see here. So I've got some new shooting drills coming out. I've been working on. A lot of them are going to be based off just your basic box drills. However, switching some things up, uh, different scenarios to think of or whatever. But we'll go over those, and I'll have those drop in throughout the week. With cold weather starting to hit, we'll be doing more gunfather stuff. Right now, we're still going through Beretta um, on the title or whatnot. You guys might have noticed how I put Beretta Dark History. Well, here's the crazy thing: any arms dealer, manufacturer, or whatever throughout history is going to have a dark, something dark that went on. For instance, if you guys watched any of my the episode that I did on Samuel Colt was selling firearms to the Confederate Army at the same time he was selling them to the Union. All he did though was hurry and become sworn in and became a lieutenant colonel in Connecticut, to try to redeem his error or whatnot. So I mean, like these types of things they do happen. With Europe, another thing to take into consideration: how much history is in Europe as it is already. United States, we've got what people have been here. Columbus, 1492. Before that, Vikings. Before that, the indigenous when they walked across the Bering Strait, or whatever your belief is on the. But history-wise, it's nothing compared to like the length of time that Europe has. So you look at it in that fashion. I mean, then you take it this way, and then I'll get into context here pretty shortly. I'm just making a point. I know it drags on and I ramble, but anytime there's conquest, Napoleon, which we'll get into, or you have evil men like Hitler in the Third Reich, or you have Alexander the Great, or whoever, people conquering. They're going to conquer a nation, they're going to take that nation's resources, and then they're going to continue to use those to benefit themselves. That's the whole point, right? So with Beretta, every single conflict in Europe from 1526, and it could even be beforehand, but we only have a record of Beretta being an actual functioning company, since 1526. And that's, if you watch the video, that original order from the Venetian Republic, that's just the first date documented that they were actually in operation. So, boring things aside, and moving on, Beretta with the foundries in Rendell, the area that they were originally located in, there was a lot of iron workers, there was guilds, forges. Beretta's forge, became one of the best, most popular, good craftsmanship, and then on top of that, they were getting government contracts, which in the world of firearms, a government contract it's just a guaranteed cash cow. So you go through all the conflicts, 1526, all the way up to World War II even, and Beretta had supplied weapons to every side you can imagine. Whoever had the most money and was willing to pay it, they did it. And look, they're nearly 500 years old. I mean, they're like again, 1526 would be 500. However, that's just the first transaction on record. So when you guys hear me say over 500, I'm saying over 500 because I'm damn well sure they probably were selling a lot more privately stuff rather than government contracts before that date. So anyways, fast forward late 1700s, 1791 to about 1815, Napoleon, when he was on his conquest and he was conquering Europe. First thing he did, he conquered Italy. He took the Beretta foundry. He told them straight up, you guys are going to manufacture, you're going to make these rifles, barrels, weapons, everything that I want you guys to make for me. I'm going to pay you guys all this money. And, Beretta did. Now, at the time, Napoleon conquering Europe, people thought he was the bad guy. Depends on what side of history you're on. Um, so Beretta gets a reputation of being a warmongering, profiteering or whatever. When everybody profits off war, it's one of the older things in the book. It's almost as old as prostitution. But that gave Beretta even better reputation because Napoleon, he was huge on the quality of the rifles and everything that they were providing back then, especially with some of those flintlocks and whatnot. You go through the 1800s, there were multiple conflicts. Beretta supplied both sides. You get to 1918, the Beretta, one of the very first submachine guns that came out, Beretta had dropped that and put that out. Now, more controversy, and of course, I don't blame the people. Unfortunately, dictators do get into office, but Mussolini after World War One with Italy, of course, he's going to be making them manufacture and provide firearms for the Italian military, and they're part of the Third Reich, and of course, they're going to do the same with Mussolini was buddies with Hitler. Same thing, provide that, but that's also one thing to take into consideration with how small Europe is, but all the firearm manufacturers who've been there for ages, armories, arsenals, you name it. You have FN, you've got Walther who came around that time. You had SIG is just as old from the 1800s. You had Beretta. You had a lot of these older companies. Well, when you conquer these countries that these companies are in, guess what assets become yours to use from that point forward? And so if you think about it, like with FN, for instance, in Belgium, you conquer Belgium, he took that factory, and all of a sudden you see all these Third Reich soldiers and all that stuff, and they're carrying Browning FN high power pistols, as well as some of the machine guns, because Browning, of course, most of his patents up until close to around the time of his death belonged over to them. He had sold them to them. He was working back and forth between the U.S. and FN. So these are some dark things to consider. Take them with a grain of salt. That's history for you, and it's an interesting concept. The thing about it is nobody likes Nazis. Nobody likes genocide, maniacs, dictators. Well, there are some scumbags out there that do, but there are terrorist a-holes and stuff like that. But deep dive into history. There's always two sides to every story. A lot of things, there's some bad things in the past. Beretta has a couple of shady things. If you want to get into it, Smith and Wesson, before they started the firearm company in the 1800s. Now, Smith and Wesson, they actually had a partnership twice, and that's in one of my other videos for Gunfather. But he developed whaling gear for whaling with an explosive tip. A harpoon that you hit the whale and it blows up inside it. That's, nowadays we look at it and be like, damn, man, that's awful. But, back then whaling wasn't that big of a deal. People didn't view it as bad. You had, like I said, Samuel Colt selling arms to the Confederacy and the Union at the same time. You had, it's just, that's part of war, unfortunately. It's ugly, but, there's a lot of stuff that it's a little shady. We'll put it that way. So, so when I'm putting these videos out, I'm not glorifying what they did when they did the bad things, and I'm not trying to point out that they were bad. I'm just pointing out the history of it, because it was history. I'm sure nowadays everybody's trying to do the best they can or whatnot. But anyways, Beretta, though, oldest company in the world, a lot of cool stuff. we're dropping the videos. We're just about up to mid 1800s. Um, Napoleon, after Napoleon's when Beretta really took off in Europe. It's also after the Revolutionary War. Beretta also, you know, did secretly send arms to, the 13 colonies and all that when they were in the Revolutionary War as well, which I thought was kind of neat reading that. That was pretty cool. So, it's stuff like that. It's cool to see when it intertwines with American history, but, and there's that aspect of it. So, another topic here, and this is something for y'all to think about, whether you have grandkids or kids or even yourselves or whatnot. And, I feel like a hypocrite saying this, but this YouTube time and era, um, just how crazy it is. I mean, when I was a kid growing up, it was, learn to ride your bike. Man, you're out and about, you're hanging out with your friends, dinner time's at 7, food's on the table, whatever, or you go out fishing, you go out and you learn how to do things or whatever, you experience life. And it dawned on me because, like, my stepson earlier this summer, he'd never gone fishing before. And I was like, okay, I'll take you out fishing, man. That's cool. He's like, well, I think I kind of know how to do it because on Minecraft, I did it on Minecraft. And I'm like, fishing on a video game? That is not fishing. That is not living life. And, this opened my eyes because I never paid attention to this before. But there was a lot of people who really think like everything they do in video games or on the internet or watching YouTube or social media, and that they're actually doing the real thing. And I was like, oh shit, man. And I was like, all right, let's go get a pole. Went and bought him a fishing pole, took him out. He actually did real fishing, had a good time. But I mean, it's stuff like that. I'm like, holy shit, dude! In Minecraft, that's like basically digital Legos, isn't it? And so, it's things like that with YouTube. It's just nuts. How can you honestly say you're experiencing things in life, but you're watching a video? And in kids, I did the same thing. As far as like trying to be involved in conversations where I didn't know the hell I was talking about when I was 5 or 6, or you know, um, thinking I knew everything or whatnot at the time. But being a kid, obviously no. But like nowadays, man, it's like, oh no, but I saw a video about it on YouTube, and I'm just like, holy shit, man. I mean, is that what we're resulting to in society? Is like, COVID did a ton of damage. People don't experience real life for starters. I mean, socializing and dating and all that stuff. It's gotten crazy. And I was like thinking about all these types of things. And I was thinking about shooting guns and all that stuff. And I'm like, man, am I doing a disservice to people by putting out stuff on YouTube for guns, or am I actually helping them with firearm safety and history? And so, I felt kind of conflicted about that. I was like thinking about it because, I mean, quite honestly, there's a lot of stuff I've used YouTube for, which has been amazing. Like, for instance, working on cars, certain parts, whatever. It's easy you can hurry and click on YouTube and pull up a manual, and somebody walks you through it right there, which is awesome. And then I think about, well, you've got history and you have all sorts of other content on YouTube that's great. But have any of you guys ever actually stopped and watched the shit that kids watch nowadays on there? I mean, you've got like grown ass adults playing dress up for kids programs. And I mean, it's just some weird shit out there, man. I don't know. I mean, these people, I mean, maybe they're making a lot of money, maybe they came from money and they're bored, I don't know, but it's bizarre. Like, there's a bunch of video games out, like Huggy Wuggy, and God, what's the other one called? I don't know. Poppy's Playtime or something like that. And it's like you've got these adults, and I think they're like, it's almost like they exploit their kids for money, man. They make their kids do all these like videos, and the kids, I don't know, it's just bizarre. But YouTube, man, it's just freaking weird. Let's put it that way. Very weird. But you know, and then a lot of people that are, if they were ever involved in that mob tube genre I talked about, man, pure drama, carnage, and filth. That's all there is there. It's like the ultimate. If you want to go talk shit on people and just argue and watch people do crazy shit, I mean, that's the place to go, man. The armpit of YouTube. But I don't know. I don't know. Rambling on, anyways, guys. But looking back on it, and thinking about it, I'm like, do I help people or am I making things worse? And then I think about like douchebags like Johnny Q. And then, you know, I think, you know what? Somebody's got to like call this dude's bullshit because everybody's too scared to. And everybody believes him because he was a cop. He's not a cop anymore. But, you know, they take his word. And unfortunately, that's where I have the problem. And, you know, I didn't want to like call people out or talk shit or do anything like that on this channel when my other one got taken down. This one I was like, I'm gonna go different approach this time, whatever. Then I saw his videos come out, and then I was like, no, somebody's got to say something, dude, because this guy, people, you know, it wouldn't bother me so much, but when I look at the comments and I read people going, oh, you're so amazing. This is so great. Thank you so much. Oh, thank you for protecting our communities and all this shit. And it's like, this guy is like totally full of shit, and these people are believing it 100%, which, you know, it's just, it blows my mind, man. I mean, and then I'm just thinking, some kid's gonna believe this shit. He's gonna get hurt. I mean, like this guy flags himself, at least in every other video. But you know, it's just, he has no content. He sells fanny packs, and he has to bring up John Wick, Deadpool, or any of that shit. And then what happens? That gets put in the algorithm, and kids pull him out. Exactly, dude. John Wick flick, buddy. Exactly. And like, here's the funny part about it. He speeds his videos up. There's one of them. He sped it up a little too fast while he was shooting because he's trying to make his draw time look fast. But notice he never shows you the timer. He just reads it. But there's one of them where he's in the woods or something, like trying to look cool shooting or something, and like he's pivoting like a Oompa Loompa on Willy Wonka, dude. And I about died. I mean, I watched that shit, and I'm just thinking, if this guy was a cop, man, and I was like, you know, some criminal or whatever, I couldn't take him seriously. I'd be laughing my ass off. I mean, but it's just, when you have to constantly refer Fantasyland stuff, man, it is just really weird. I mean, I'd have more respect if he was talking about Star Wars or something, dude. But like John Wick, it's just, there's people that you'd want to be in a gunfight with and have your back. They might be a complete shitbag in every other aspect of life. Or, you know, there's people that you don't want with you in a gunfight or something like that, but they're way cool dudes when they're not, you know? Johnny Q, well, in my book, he falls under neither because he's a fucking fraud. The only thing he hasn't done yet that really irritates the living shit out of me is go on with the good Christian bullshit, because the Christian hypocrisy thing, I cannot fucking stand that. There's nothing that drives me nuts worse than that. Oh, he's a Christian. He wouldn't lie. Yeah, he is lying, and he's lying right to your guys' faces, and you take his word for it. You know, I mean, they're the worst ones. If any of you guys, I'm a huge fan. Don Shipley, hilarious, one of the funniest dudes ever. Watch his show, and there's interviews with him, and he'll flat out say Christian Singles is the #1 place where he catches phonies pretending to be Navy SEALs, and it's because people, you know, he play on people's heartstrings. I mean, they do that, you know, that's their grift. And you know, Don Shipley, what I love about it though is he'll flat out just get into it and tell them straight up, you know, I hate that that bullshit, playing people's heartstrings and taking advantage of widows and things like that. You know, he's a good dude, Don Shipley. I really like him. His wife Diane's pretty funny too. But you know, these are the types of things. And then I just I thought about it, and I'm like, how do you get these kids though to like see beyond the bullshit with these guys? I mean, it's not like my channel's that big or anything, you know. And if I comment in this dude's section, for the most part, all it is, oh, you're just a troll, you're an asshole, blah blah blah. And no, my whole point here is, you know, if the dude's gonna push fanny packs and sell fanny packs, that's cool, man. You know, that's his MO. That's what he's doing to make some money. That's fine with me. But when you're gonna get up there and give bad advice, or if you screw up but don't redact it and admit you screwed up, that's, you know, that's the issues. But like I said, at the same time, when you've got somebody that's convinced people, you know, that oh, he's a cop or a former cop, so he wouldn't lie. He knows what he's talking about. How do you talk to people about that stuff? How do you get them to actually look at the facts and decide things for themselves? I mean, you know, I don't. My whole point on calling bullshit on some of these scammers, man, is it's not that I want to make them not watch these shows. I want people to open their eyes and decide not to watch the bullshit on their own. You know, that's kind of the thing. You know, that goes with freedom of choice and free will or whatever. But I don't know. It's entertaining though to definitely watch and laugh at that type of shit. But I don't know. I just I think about it and then I just think this guy's a marshmallow. You know, when I called out his bullshit for doing clearing a house and clearing rooms, man. I mean, he I just think of that scene in The Departed, and I've already said this before, where they open the elevator, Leo DiCaprio gets his head blown off as soon as the door opens, and I was like, that is exactly what would happen to Johnny Q every time. I mean, the dude doesn't slice the pie on the corners. You know, he runs, sticking the barrel up like right through a corridor, doing his like stop and hand switch little move, man. It was almost choreographed cute, like the Michael Jackson Who's Bad video back in the 80s. I mean, it's just, that guy. Fuck, man. He should be a comedian. All he'd have to do is stand up there at the mic on open mic night at a club and say, I'm a cop, and people would laugh their asses off at him. But, you know, it is what it is. That's it. But, so yeah, anyways, guys, that's pretty much all my ramblings and shit talking today. Had to get that out. It's church day, right? We got to go to the range. In fact, my kids are wanting to go do some archery, so we'll go take the bows out today, I think. But there's been some good, you know, good wildlife around, good hunting, gonna be happening soon. I'm excited, man. Seeing the pheasant roosters, man, just flying over the road and everything like that. I mean, I'll tell you what, South Dakota, if you want to go pheasant hunting, you don't need to get a shotgun. You don't even need to get out of your car. All you have to do is wait till harvest season, as soon as pheasant kicks in, dude, and just drive down any of the back roads. You'll probably run over at least 3 of them because they're suicidal and crazy. I mean, they fly so low to the ground and they fly at the most strange angles for birds. It's just weird. But I mean, you know, you can only get 3 roosters a day. Wink. But you know, it's our state bird. Cracks me up it's a state bird because pheasants aren't even from the United States originally. They're actually from China. They just brought them over when they were doing the railroads and everything, and they became a invasive species and took over. But they're delicious. I'm not gonna lie, good stuff. But I'll tell you what I want though, man. I'd love to go do that gator hunting. Watching what is it, swamp people, something like that, man. I mean, those dudes are nuts. You've got a hole about that big on the alligator's skull, and the type of gun they use is a 22. I mean, you want to talk about some nuts, man. Those guys got crazy balls. Plus, they're in the water. I mean, And those gators, like how much they weigh. So you're shooting one, hopefully it's dead, and then you're trying to drag it into your boat. That's insane. But gator is tasty, and gator leather is pretty. I will say that. Um, I don't know. We've got a couple people watching. No commenting. I was hoping, I mean, I don't even get trolls anymore. It kind of sucks. At least like the one fun thing about some of the trolls on here is they, come up with some good insults and stuff like that from time to time. But anyways, folks, you guys have a good rest of the week. Be safe, spend time with your family. I got more Halloween decorations and shit to put up. I got my trick or treaters for Nightmare Before Christmas that I got out front. I gotta change the batteries in those. None of them lit up, but they sat in storage for a year. Actually, I think 2 years on that one. But because while we're waiting for this house that we just got. But anyways, be doing that. Drop some more videos for you guys. Shooting drills, stay off the X stuff coming out. Down in the dirt basics. And I think that's what I got all for now. You guys all enjoy your Sunday. Take care.